Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's We Roguelike It, the show where we play every roguelike in history. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonbeer.
Hello.
And Monkey Sr.
Hello.
This is our first week of coverage of Vambrace Cold Soul. Let's go around the room and find out where everyone's playing. I'm on PS4. Moon?
Xbox One.
And Monkey?
Xbox as well.
All right.
I can go first on this. I will willingly and happily go first on this because I got some bones to pick.
I do too. So let's start picking those bones.
Okay. Well, I get the feeling we'll have different bones to pick because my bones to pick are with you, Mr. Boston.
Okay. I feel like you might be picking those bones with Steam.
These are randomly chosen, random roguelikes. The second this game started, I was like, wait, hold up.
This is just Darkest Dungeon.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yes. This is 100% kind of Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, there's a new subgenre that's really starting to blossom over the last year or two that I just call actually Darkest Dungeon. Like Mistover is also just actually Darkest Dungeon. And this game is very much, hey, we liked Darkest Dungeon, so let's make our own and kind of put a spin on it.
Yep. Actually, funnily enough, though, this feels more roguelike than Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, because you're not expected to keep your party members around. It doesn't seem like there doesn't seem to be, at least in the beginning. I've only beaten the first boss. There doesn't seem to be much progression past bring these people in your party, try and make a party out of them, and then push as far as you can. There seems to be some progression with your main character, Lyric, but that seems pretty light, too.
Every time I read the main character's name, I think of the villain in Sonic Boom, because that's his name.
Rise of Lyric.
Yeah. I was just like, oh my god.
I hadn't yet, but now I will.
Yes, good. Infect that with everybody you can.
Yeah.
Okay, more bones to pick. The UI in this thing is god-awful.
Yeah. That is my largest issue with this game is I'm enjoying Vambrace a fair amount in spite of nearly every one of its design and interface choices in the game. I just
it's so bad.
The number of times I'm opening stuff up incorrectly or opening up menus because I keep forgetting I can't use the D-pad to move, so I'm like trying to move my character and I'm like in the map all of a sudden. Like there's just so much of it is just...
There's a lot of hot garbage.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess. Yeah, I'm getting it, but it's not intuitive at all.
Yeah, that's actually the perfect way to describe it, is not intuitive. It took me 10 minutes to figure out how to unequip a piece of equipment from one of my people.
Oh, yeah.
10 minutes to figure that out, so I could upgrade it and then just put it back on them.
But on the flip side, I like how each character has like a card all about them where you see all of their stats, you can see all of their skills and exactly what they do and what button they're assigned to. Like, I think that is way clearer than Darkest Dungeon was, where it's like, I have these 4 skills and I can never remember what they are when I'm in battle. This one, just pull up the card, look at all the stuff, you got the character right there.
Yeah.
It does an absolutely horrible job of explaining that there is essentially a mana system for the moves.
Yeah. That took me a little bit to recognize that. I was like, the first skill does
10 runs in, dude.
Yeah.
I was like 10 runs in. I was like, why are these moves blacked out? I can't use these moves, but I don't know why.
Right.
Like, oh god, yes. Like you said, Monkey. Like, yeah, that move, the basic move seems to give you recharge points, and then obviously when you get the weird blue text, it gives you like bonus mana essentially.
Yeah.
That's a crit, but
I gotta say, not a fan of this multicolored gibberish text system where it's like the green is okay and the blue is good and the red is bad and the yellow is whatever. Like, I need you to use something better.
Actual words.
Yeah, like, because there's so much design stuff that's really rough. Like, that is really hard. And then at the same time, for most games that have an interface like this, where you got your people on the left and the enemies on the right, when I hit an enemy or an enemy hits me, I need to see a number float above my head or the enemy's head, not the health bar of the enemy, because a red damage...
I'm not looking at that.
Well, and like a red damage number on a red health bar is really hard to see, as opposed to, here's a 3 with an exclamation mark over my head. I know they hit me with a crit for 3 damage. Like, there's basic... I feel like they don't meet basic expectations for some of that stuff.
Yeah. Monkey, give us a big failing point on your side.
Yeah, what bones do you have to pick?
What bones do I have to pick? When I first started playing this, I asked the question to myself, did this really need to be a roguelike?
Right.
Like, there's a huge story like section at the very beginning of the game, and
that's always a red flag to me, achievement wise.
Yeah, that's kind of not what I want in a roguelike. You know, like in like Binding of Isaac, there's a story there technically, but like you don't even need to worry about it. In like Gungeon, there is a story. In, you know, like all these great roguelikes, there is technically a story, but this one is just like heavy story. And if I'm playing something with a lot of story, like I kind of want to get attached to the characters,
right?
And like I guess you can get attached to the main character, but like everyone else, like my very first run, I went in and 2 of my characters died, and I did not care at all. And I was like, okay, back to base.
Yeah, like I can get another dwarf for my front slot, like whatever.
And there's like no there's no investment to recruiting at all anyway. Like there's no money thing, so you just like come into my party, whatever.
Yeah, and like you can when you find the hard part that I had is you can find those like expedition parties in the dungeon, and you can recruit those people that want to come with you. But I already have a full party 9 times out of 10, and if I lose 1 or 2 people, I'm just going to go back to town and try again. So there's like there's almost
zero.
Go ahead.
There's zero sacrifice for doing that as well. Like if you flee back to town,
right?
You keep all of the loot you've earned, you keep the money you've earned, you keep the gubbins, and you can literally go back, upgrade what you need to upgrade, craft whatever you need to craft, and then just like that, you go to bed, sleep at night, and everybody's back at full health, and you can go again.
Yeah, it's I sort of see where they're trying to do some roguelike stuff, so I'm hoping that gets fleshed out. The reason why it's on our list is because the Steam page and the product page especially really push that it's a roguelike. And I looked at it and said, okay, yeah, sure, that sort of looks like a roguelike, sure. But I'm hoping that as we dig deeper into it, that more systems will flesh out. But with as much stuff as they tutorial dump on you immediately, I'm a little worried that that's kind of it.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's this is it, and it's only like, okay, 2, you know, we do 4 weeks on it, whatever, you know, it will end up probably falling under the same category as Darkest Dungeon, but like I said, right now it feels like it's slightly more roguelike than Darkest Dungeon because of that. The town isn't suffering when you fail. There is no...
Right.
That's something about Darkest Dungeon is like the town goes into like really bad moods and stuff like that, and it does affect the town when you fail. But that feels like that doesn't feel roguelike, that just feels difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas this is very much a case of, here is your dungeon, go and do a run. Here is your dungeon, go and do a run and see how you do. Like, I don't know what you guys, but it took me like 9 times to actually get that first dungeon complete because I was trying to learn the mechanics as I was going as well.
Yeah.
Because again, tutorials are very minimal in this thing.
And I did a bunch of runs. I think I probably did it in my 5th or 6th run, because after the first 2 runs, I was like, well, I should go into the dungeon, scoop up everything I can until I feel like I'm in a good spot, go back to town, put that all in my cabinet, craft as much stuff as I can, and then go for like one good, solid, prepared run where I have a bunch of healing and vigor stuff and all that with like a really solid team. But that seems to be, at the beginning, that seems to be the only real thing I can do to prep. And I think the only other thing that this game actually seems to take some inspiration from FTL as well, where those events that happen in the dungeon where it's like you ran across this dude who says like, hey, I made a drink, would you like to try it? And it,
the dice roll stuff.
Yeah, it's like the space spider stuff from FTL where it's like you can kind of make the same choice 10 times in a row and it's a dice roll every time, which so far feels fine, but I'm worried that that's going to get more punishing and more mean as the game goes on.
I wish it had some form of indication for that over which character in your party would be the best person to do it.
Right.
Like,
I think oftentimes it's just 50-50.
It's just random. Yeah,
well, yeah, because
I don't know. It feels like that kind of because one of mine was there was a girl who wanted to play a game, and she was like, choose one of these two things.
Yeah, like the chocolate or
and
the
then
sweets.
it was just, yeah. It was just like, all right, I guess this 50-50. Yeah. And she stole all my money, so that's good.
Yeah, largely I've just been choosing the person that I need the least in my party. It's like I want the archer has been super helpful. I always have a dwarf in the first spot because they seem to avoid traps 100% of the time, which is really great. So, and I don't want to get Lyric hurt, so it's sort of like, well, whatever the fourth person I have, I guess you're doing all the dice rolls, because if you get damaged or you get killed, that's okay. And that's kind of a bummer.
It's something as well. Anytime I come into a room full of chests, I was constantly switching out to my person who had the most chesty steely stuff, so I could sweep the room. You don't need to do that. The game doesn't tell you. It automatically picks the best character in your party to open those chests, no matter who's on the front.
I think it does once, but like if you skip that tutorial block, then it's you
probably did because
there's a ton of tutorial at the beginning.
So far, I'm enjoying Vambrace, even though I kind of have all these, as we've been talking, all these bones to
caveats.
Yeah, like I have all these issues with the game. I am enjoying it. I don't think it's pulling me in as much as Darkest Dungeon did, because I liked the character growth and I liked the town growth in that. But I think there's something about Vambrace that so far has been pretty good, even though there's this laundry list of issues in the game. Yeah. Go ahead. Any last thoughts?
So, something that's not something necessarily bad, but I was very surprised at the town hub screen. Like when you go outside a building, I was like,
being like a
completely different art style. Like, what is
Yep, here's your Final Fantasy overworld map.
Yeah,
the little chibi version of Lyric who just runs around.
Yep. It's really good.
That was pretty cool.
Have we all done chapter 1?
It sounds like it.
To beat the first boss.
Yeah, first boss.
Who did we give?
Oh, go ahead.
Who did we give the token, the merchant's token to?
I gave it back to the guy in town. Because the boss lady was like, he was the one that had it originally. That's the person I want you to give it back to. And I was like, okay, I didn't really care in the first place, so I had no desire either way. So I guess we'll give it to him.
Give Granny Ghost her wishes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which wasn't as hard of a boss battle as I was expecting it to be.
It was just exhausting because of that heal.
Yeah, it's like I would do 10 damage, she would heal for 7. It's like, okay, let's do this again.
It's one of those fights.
Yeah. All right, any last thoughts here on Vambrace Cold Soul?
Interesting so far. We'll see.
Yeah, another cautious tale for us of maybe not every roguelike is a roguelike. Maybe. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next run. Bye.
Bye.